This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
We have Nate Olson standing by on the McLarty Daniel hotline, Scorebook Live, and high school football scoreboard show, and high school football extraordinaire, pretty much. Nate, good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing great. On the road from Texas. Went to the Cowboys game last night with my wife, Sheena, and Luke, my 12-year-old. They're in the car, and I'm probably going to be getting a critique the whole way home now. She doesn't listen to me when I'm on the radio much, but since she's right here, she'll probably tell me everything I did wrong in this interview.
You got to listen to Sheena because she's brilliant. So you already know that. You don't need me to tell you to listen to Sheena. You know the answer to that. Why were you wearing a Cowboys hat? I saw you wearing a Cowboys hat, Nate. You're a Chiefs fan. How'd this happen?
Well, because Luke is a Cowboys fan, although he likes Geno Smith a lot and wasn't very pleased with what happened last night. But he wore a Chiefs jersey for me a couple years ago. We went to Tennessee, so I repaid him the favor. But that hat is now his. It's going in his closet, and I'll pull my Chiefs hat back out. It was a great time. If you've never been to Jerry's World, I highly recommend it. Just as a sports fan, it is a wonderful atmosphere. And the Cowboys, even though I've never really been a fan, they have a great organization. It's a good time going to those games.
DK Metcalf or CeeDee Lamb? Who you taking?
We were just talking about how DK Metcalf is 6'2", 239 and runs 22 miles an hour.
Mode.
So I think I'd take him. Watching him running at us, we were in the end zone. Seeing him run at us that fast on that little pop pass was unbelievable. He is unbelievable.
All right, Nate, what game is top of mind to you when you're thinking about these AAA championship games? Where do you want to get to first?
Yeah, championship weekend, I think you got to start with Bentonville and Fayetteville. What a stunning turn of events that was. I don't think anybody, when you do this for a living and you talk about it every week, you're going to be wrong some. Both Kyle Sutherland and I, we were just penciling in Brian and Conway. I mean, just to be honest with you, that's who we thought. I thought Brian all year long. Just hats off to Jody Grant and company to be able to go to Bryant, win, and really dominate the second half of that football game. Made no doubt about it. Luke Kuhn, they're kind of their second receiver, has a huge night. Defense played well, and Bryant didn't execute very well in the second half. Bentonville took advantage, and Fayetteville holds off Conway at the end. On a kind of a strange free kick situation. With about 30 seconds left in the game. They missed the free kick, and then there was a delay of game on that, and they got 4 tries at trying to get to the end zone or get a field goal, and they couldn't do it. So good job by Fayetteville's defense. We don't talk much about them all year, but they did a good job. So now you've got 2 teams from the same league who have had some extraordinary matchups in the regular season and in the state championship playing again. And both of those coaches, they are thrilled to play against each other. They're tired of hearing about the 7A Central. I talked to a Fayetteville assistant this week, and he's like, you gave us a lot of bulletin board material to our kids talking about the Central. He said, we're tired of hearing about it. And both of those coaches text each other. They're going to play each other for a state title. They're both congratulating each other for getting in. They wanted to play each other. So that's pretty cool. That's going to be a great game.
I was kind of looking down the list, man, and there's some good ones, but one in the backyard right here with it's a Walker White Kane Archer matchup right there. Greenwood LRCA. Did they have Little Rock Christian? Did they play earlier this year?
They did. They played at Greenwood. Greenwood has a 62-game winning streak at home, and they took care of Little Rock Christian in the regular season finale. Walker White 2 picks in that game. Matt, you don't get a lot of, as a quarterback, you don't get a lot of chances to redeem yourself when you play a team to get a chance to play him again. I know he's thought about that all week long because he didn't play the way he wanted to. The team didn't. I mean, Walker is playing more like a 4-star blue chip guy this year. He's more accurate. But Kane Archer really outdueled him in that game. I think that's stuck in his craw. He's a competitor. He's an Army All-American, going to play in that game. Big-time quarterback. He's got a second chance. And if he wins this game and plays well, people are going to forget about that other one. It's not going to mean anything. So he played really well against Benton. I saw the whole game. He made some terrific throws, and he really kind of put him on his back. I think he's got to do that again. His receiving core is good, but he doesn't have the number of weapons. Kane Archer can sit back in the pocket. He's got a good running back. He's got 3 or 4 good receivers, lots of options. Little Rock Christian, not quite as talented there, but he has meshed well with those receivers. But I think what he's going to have to do is pull off a 30-yard run here or there, maybe hurdle a guy, do something spectacular, and kind of put him on his back, especially in that fourth quarter, if he can get that far. I think he'll play better, and I think it'll be a better game playing on a neutral field. They have played in Little Rock a lot at War Memorial. Eric Koyu is a very good coach. They're just glad as a program to play in this title game and get another shot at Greenwood. But Greenwood is hot. I think they've been the favorite the whole year, wire to wire, and it will not surprise me if they pull it off.
Tell me what you think about the 5A state title game. I mean, it's great to see a Little Rock public school being dominant. I think that means good things for the football program at Arkansas overall, and maybe hopefully a couple other of those programs continue to get better. But the Boulding brothers really have something special going on at Parkview. They get Shiloh Christian, and they've been undefeated, and they've just been wiping the field with everybody. What are you seeing here?
Said at the beginning of the playoffs, I don't see anybody getting within 2 touchdowns of them. Shiloh Christian showed a ton of grit. I mean, that is a football, that is the tradition, the aura that they have, the history going back decades, and they just win games. They go to Pine Bluff, they're down 2 touchdowns, they come back and win. Bo Williams is as gritty, as tough as a running back, a player you're going to find in high school football. He kind of willed them to that win. They've got a freshman quarterback in Cole Creighton, but he's been hurt a lot, but he's been back. I think the difference in this game is you talked about the Boulding brothers. Bobby Boulding is a Hall of Fame head football coach who is a defensive coordinator on this program. Don't think it's any coincidence that he comes into the program last year and they win a state championship. Brad had a hard time doing that at North Little Rock. He gets Bobby on the staff. They work well together. The thing that makes Bobby dangerous is you've got 11 guys who are very, very good football players and good athletes. Now you've got a guy that can pull those strings, put them in the right places. They talk about assignment football and being disciplined. And that's how their scheme goes. He tells them where to go, and they do it. And then they're such good athletes. So Marion Robinson, one of the top defensive backs in the country, you've got that kind of talent. So you have to, as a freshman quarterback, Matt, you can probably attest to this, you've got to face a defense that is big, strong, and quick, and is disciplined. That is a hard task to take on as a 14 or 15-year-old kid, and that's what Cole Creighton's going to have to do. But he has a great running back. I mean, Bo Williams, there's not, you talk about Braylon Russell and some of these other good running backs. Williams is right with him. He's primed to have a good game tomorrow. He's ready for it. This is going to be a battle. I think Parkview wins it, but maybe not by the margin I initially thought. But Little Rock Christian is had a good year, or Shiloh Christian had a great year, and they're not going to give up. They showed that at Pine Bluff.
Well, I see there, Hardin Academy. I think one of my former teammates, Jeb Huckabee, who played ball there, and they're back in a semifinal against Elkins. Who are you giving the shot there to make it to the state championship game in the 4A?
Harding Academy is the last 5 years has just been so good. But man, this is going to be a terrific game. It's one of those that it could be a signature for Elkins. I mean, they're trying to get their program. They've got Drew Morgan as an assistant there. They've got several Greenwood guys, including their head coach that's from Greenwood. They brought the Greenwood way to Elkins. They've got a ton of good players. This is probably going to be some kind of big shootout. And what it's going to come down to is which defense can make the plays. Wyatt Simmons is a linebacker. His dad's the head coach at Harding University. He is very, very good, being recruited by everybody. You've got him at linebacker, chance to make some plays there. And Elkins has a much better defense than we originally thought. We knew the offense was going to be good, but their defense is better. This is going to be a dandy of a game, and it could be one of those where Elkins, it puts them on the map. We had talked about 3 or 4 other programs in 4A ahead of them, with Warren, Malvern, Harding Academy. But now you've got to include Elkins in there, and if they get to the state championship game, it'd just be so huge. Elkins hasn't been a traditional, winner, so I think they can get it done. But this is one of those games where sometimes Harding Academy wins it just because they're Harding Academy. So that's what Elkins has to combat is they're the new kid on the block. They haven't played in a game like this. Harding Academy has. They've got a veteran quarterback who's a junior in Owen Miller. But I think this will be good. I think this is where Elkins can really prove they belong on the same level as those good programs.
How about the 3A semifinal with Boonville and Glen Rose? Both had a couple of tough losses earlier in the season, but they come in with really lengthy winning streaks. I mean, they were both, undefeated in their leagues. Who do you see moving on?
They pushed themselves early, and it's paying off now. Dex Goff, I've talked about him at length. He's a running back, linebacker. To me, probably a Division I linebacker. K-State looked at him. He's going to Harding. That's what Harding's one of the top D2 teams in the country. They're getting some really good talent to come there. But he's a guy that makes a big difference in a game like this. He plays running back, linebacker, returns kicks. Glen Rose has Heath Balance, who's a fantastic running back. This is going to be a punch you in the face, slobber knocker, physical running game that it's going to get over early. I think it's a game where you probably give Boonville a little bit of the nod because they've won games like this. But Glen Rose, they won a state championship under Stephen Keener's dad, Mark, and Stephen played for him, played at OBU. He's trying to make his own marks on the program now. Young guy, from one of the up-and-coming coaches. So give Boonville a little bit of the nod. I know a lot of people in your listening area are rooting for them, and I think I give them a nod. I had them in the championship game the whole year, and I wouldn't waver on that now. But this will be a good one. Glen Rose is playing really good football right now. I'm very confident.
Hey, Nate, big news up on the Hill that I'm sure, we've all heard about Bobby P being the OC. What has this had an effect? Is there a buzz going around with high school kids or a high school with the recruiting? Do you think this changes anything, maybe how some of these kids feel and maybe could help in the recruiting world?
I think it could, and especially if you're a quarterback. Courtney Crutchfield, apparently they're meeting with him today. Pittman and Petrino were headed to Pine Bluff. That shows you how important of a piece he is. He's an electric 4-star wide receiver, decommitted before the Florida game, just minutes before kickoff, trying to make a statement there. Charlie Collins, his cousin, still firmly committed to Arkansas, took his Army All-American picture with the Razorback hat. I can't see those two guys not going to the same school. They grew up together, and they picked Arkansas together. So I think that they will be together. Now, what it's going to depend on, that's going to be, Crutchfield is going to be playing directly for Bobby Petrino. Does he like him? Does he like the scheme? That's all to be determined. We don't know. But apparently he didn't, wasn't on board with the Dan Enos departure, maybe. I don't know. He did that right after they asked him. So that'll all have to be sorted out. But they're going to go down there and give their best effort. Something I'm very interested in is, you've got Drake Lindsay at Fayetteville, who Houston Nutt says no question is an SEC quarterback, and P.J. Fleck beat everybody on him. I expect Petrino to go talk to him. I really do, and I think that will happen next week. I don't have any reason, intelligence or anything, but he's the kind of quarterback that he would want. And, we talked to him about that this week. There's a story on our site about it. He said Arkansas, you've asked this question before. He said they never were very interested. And I think that did bother him. And now if they did show interest in him, I think that gives him something to think about with Minnesota. And I think with Nutt saying, he knows what it takes to play in the SEC to be a quarterback. And, he said 100% he belongs there. So if Petrino is looking for a 6'6" quarterback to run that offense, there's one right across the street that may be open-minded to him.
I would trust Houston. Houston Nutt knew how to get some talent up there on the Hill. You talk about how fertile the talent pool was and all the NFL guys that Coach Nutt got up there. Yeah, I think Coach Nutt's pretty good at evaluating talent.
Yeah, well, when we listen to people like that, when you've coached there and then you're an analyst in CBS, Houston's not just going to say that if he doesn't believe it. He saw him play twice, and that that's the question I got from you. I got it from Clay Henry and about 6 other people. talked to me and said, why did Arkansas not recruit him? And he really shed some light on it. I think it did bother him that he didn't get the attention. And so now, if he does get the attention on that and they do come and talk to him, P.J. Fleck may have to, do some more heavier recruiting, because the lineage of Razorback relationship there is well documented with their family. Jim, the All-American there, then an uncle and dad, and then a cousin, all played at Arkansas. But that was the question that hadn't been answered. What happened in the process? Well, we got the answer this week from him in that story, was that they didn't recruit him much. They came over once and watched, and they weren't interested. So that could change with Petrino. I don't know who he's looking at and what he's looking for, but certainly, Nutt thought that would be something that an SEC program would like. And the fact Nutt likes that he's almost 6'6", his decision making. He said he watched him on a windy night where the ball was, was 25 mile an hour wind, Matt, and you probably thrown into that. He said he had no problem throwing a ball in a 25 mile an hour wind.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.